with week to go. How are you feeling?
It's a mix of a little bit of nerves, a little bit of stress in terms of being ready, and I suppose excitement. I think overwhelmingly the feeling is let's just get going. So
okay, bit of go fever perhaps.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming, and 4 years of preparation, and we're ready to go. So it's good.
Okay, and how many times have you actually done it yourself?
No, this is my very first time, and Ronsan's been involved off and on over the Osaka journey, various times throughout the period. But this year, there really wasn't much choice. I sort of strong-armed him into being a sponsor, being a competitor and an entrant. So.
Okay, and so what are you expecting for the first week?
First week, I suppose it's just that settling in period. Our plan is to try and obviously settle into a routine as quickly as we possibly can, get into our watches, try and get some sleep, although I very much doubt we will in the first 48 hours, and get round the prom and get into the paddock as quickly as we can, and just get into the sailing part of it, learning to live on board the boat for 30 days. So.
What are your sort of expectations of the race? What for yourself?
For myself, I'd like to. You've got to. It's not like a Sydney to Hobart anymore. Like we can live 4 days and not much sleep. So for me, it's conserving our energy, but still trying to get the best out of the boat. Push as much as we can, but we'll have to back off. We know we'll have to back off when if we need to get the rest. So that's going to be the hard part for me, is trying to back off and conserve it. So I'm pretty want to get push the boat as much as I can, but I know it's a marathon. 30 days, you're not going to make 30 days in if you go first day. So that's going to be the hard bit for me. Thought about it in 2018, but I'm glad we didn't do it. We did it this time. We've taken 4 years to get here, and I feel that we've just had that time enough to prepare for that race.
Was this the boat you originally planned to do it?
No, originally we planned to do it in an Elliott, my Elliott, which was a Elliott 1250, 41 foot. With being such a competitive beast, and self and Pete, we thought we need a bigger boat. We need a faster boat. We need to get through those light airs up in the northern, in the Solomons, and through the doldrums. We need more power. So we thought time to go shopping, and
And for the both of you, what are the conditions you're actually hoping for?
Look, our boat is great in all conditions. That's the good thing about it. It's a good upwind boat. It's narrower. It can push through and it's still heavy enough. It'll go through. It'll handle any sea it can throw it at it. We've done 30, 40 knots in the last Sydney to Hobart. Downwind was good. Upwind, we don't really mind.
There's no major sweet spots with the boat. It's a good all-rounder, and but if we had to choose, obviously light to medium pressure with breeze sort of on the beam or just forward of the beam would be good. So cracked sheets, sailing, and so on. The boat is a weapon in those sort of conditions. So we're hoping to get plenty of that up in the northern part of the race.
Okay, Lillian, your story is a little unusual because I'm told you started sailing only a few years ago, and you've now qualified yourself to do what is a really big ocean race. How are you feeling about this?
So that is correct. I only started sailing a handful of years ago. Thankfully, I found the ocean racing scene pretty much straight away. And under some fantastic mentorship, I was able to get those sea miles up and just get experience after experience and experience. More and more, I fell in love with it, and I haven't been able to stop since. What I'm feeling right now is it's pure excitement. It's excitement whilst also acknowledging that this is an enormous undertaking. In saying that, it's been about 18 months in preparation, getting the boat ready, and I guess mentally and physically preparing ourselves for the race. So I'm really looking forward to the feeling of crossing that finish line, knowing that we've given it our all, in the lead up and during the race, but also I'm looking forward to the journey that lies ahead for myself and my co-skipper as we just continue to develop as ocean racers and experience new kinds of racing, new conditions, new climates, and we continue to learn more about the boat and push the boat to its limits as well.
You're a sustainability campaigner. How does this fit with your sort of your mindset for sustainability? How does the race go into that?
This race has been a really interesting process for myself, but also in preparing the boat, but also just seeing what goes into organising an event like this is how can we think about the way that we operate ourselves on our boats and how we conduct events like this and others in, I guess, minimising our footprint in the way that we operate. For example, we have had some new sails produced. For our mainsail, we were able to opt for a material that was made of completely post-consumer materials. And so I guess, that makes us feel a lot better about the way that we pursue sailing, and we're able to make those choices and have those options for the way that we conduct White Spirit. As a crew and as part of the Clean Oceans program with the Ocean Racing Club, we, through the training sessions, had one dedicated to being mindful and increasing our, I guess, sustainability impact on all of the boats. So we've had those conversations right from the very beginning of this race and just sort of getting the crews involved and just every decision where you can, and if you can opt for something that's potentially a little more sustainable, or at least be mindful of the way that you're conducting your sailing and keep that in mind. And at the end of the day, we're here to appreciate what the ocean offers us, so we're just really grateful to be part of that.
What are you expecting in the first few days of the race? What are you sort of expecting and hoping for?
I think similar to Peter, we're going to take 3 or 4 days possibly to settle into the routine. It is true that when you're doing a short race like the Hobart race, you can go flat out with little sleep because you know it's a sprint. For this one here, it's definitely a marathon, and taking the time to get used to the sleeping cadence and resting is just as important as being able to handle the boat well. The other thing that we're looking forward to, I think, is settling into some particularly challenging navigational considerations. So, you know anything about the race, it's essentially 7 different ecosystems on the way up, some really challenging and different conditions from Bass Strait around the side of Australia up past the East Australian Current up into the Solomons and the West Pacific. Each of those presents a really different consideration navigationally, and we all think that our boats are going to be sailed well. We're probably all pretty good at that. I think the navigational aspect and judging the weather and figuring out where to place the boat in a few days' time will come down to one of the most important things for us to do. Too early to tell, I would say, but coming back to it, I think that, they often ask you, who are you trying to beat and who are you going to follow? And I reckon you guys are the ones we're going to be following.
Well, what Cyrus didn't say is he's actually going to go out the heads and he's going to turn right and go round Western Australia. So that's his game-changing plan, you see.
It is right.
No, we obviously the first half of the race for us will be focused pretty heavily on currents. The East Australian Current is an absolute monster at times, and you either have to come right inside and, as Cyrus said, hug the coast, and that brings a whole heap of challenges if you're short tacking up the Australian coast for 1,000 miles. That gets pretty tiring. So getting outside that current, you often get an eddy that will take you north, and we'll be watching that. We'll be watching the currents very closely over the next few days and making a decision a little bit closer to the time as to which way we go.
It's all depending on how the breeze sets up for that area. So from Cabo Island out, you either go out or you stay in. So it depends on the breeze really at the time.
We're not going to go offshore chasing the current if it's 45 knots offshore. So we'll make the decision once we see how it all sets up with 3 or 4 days to go, I think.
Yeah.